Awesome. We'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Christy Ka'a, and I'm a senior CSM here at Bevy. Thank you guys so much for joining. We really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to be with us. First and foremost, Happy New Year. I'm sure this year looked a little bit different than years to come, or years to follow, but hopefully, you still had some time to spend some quality time with the people that you love. Cool. Well, we will go ahead and get started. This is the first webinar of the year, so we're very excited. So taking a look at our agenda, I'll start off with just a few reminders and kind of set to understand what our webinar series will look like for this year. Then we've got a special guest, Cassie Mayes from the Atlassian team, who's going to give us a case study of all the great things that her team has been doing. And then we'll end with an open Q&A for our team. We've got several individuals from the customer success department here at Bevy, so any questions that you guys have, and we'll also show some reminders on how to kind of provide any feedback to our team and the best ways to go about that. This is recorded, so if some team members from your group weren't able to join, we'll have the recording ready. Always feel free to share that. Great. So just to get started, so we revamped our webinar structure about, I guess, mid last year. And now what we're doing is we're going to have monthly webinars and invite your organizers. So that was one of the biggest changes that we had this year. So they are more than welcome to join. A lot of this content not only relates to you guys, but also the organizers. We had some great events last year on recommendations for virtual events. We've done product roadmap overviews, so always feel free to invite them to this as well. Perfect. So getting into it, next I'm going to invite Cassie up here. So let me set some permissions. Awesome. So Cassie, you should see those pop-ups appear. And as she's getting set up, I'm really excited to invite Cassie. So I've had the privilege of working with Cassie since I started here at Bevy. She is a community operations manager at Atlassian and is here to kind of show all the great things that her team has been doing. Cool. So welcome, Cassie. I can hear you, I can see you.
Perfect. You can see my slides?
Yep, they look great. Awesome. So with that, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Christy. I'm Cassie. I am located in Austin, Texas, and I am a community operations manager at Atlassian. What that means for us is I'm focusing on the processes and platforms that support our community leaders program and our community events program. So I partner really closely with our community managers to make sure that our processes make sense for our leaders and them internally. And any changes to the platforms as well. I'm working with them very closely. So I wanted to go over a little bit of our agenda, set the stage. So I want to briefly just go over our mission, who our community leaders are, and how they contribute. I also want to talk about goaling and examples on how to approach that outside of normal KPIs, and how we recruit and onboard leaders into our program. This bullet is my favorite, how we keep leaders happy. We'll go into like the perks and rewards, things like that. And then we will jump into something that might not be as sexy, but is just as important, documentation and automation. And then lastly, we'll wrap it up with Q&A. So let's jump into it and who we are. So the Atlassian community features a global network of people with a shared mission to build relationships and expand their knowledge of Atlassian products. So these people are getting together to build connections and learn more about Atlassian products, whether that be on our online community or at virtual events nowadays. And our community leaders specifically, we believe, are the stewards of this movement, investing in and shaping its future. So they contribute online by answering questions from members, writing long form content for us. They also host virtual events these days. And sometimes we have leaders that decide they want to do both. So we love that. We're trying to create more of a hybrid model. So it's just a little bit about our community leaders. Right now, we have over 400. Last I looked, it was 419 active community leaders. So these are people that are hitting our minimum threshold. This is a picture of them the last time we were all together, which makes me really miss them. Probably similar to y'all. I can't wait to just see my team in person and also our community leaders. This is at one of our corporate events that we host for them, and they have like a specific community day. We have had over 700 events in the last year, which is crazy to think about. It's been a hard year for all of us, but we've had over 11,000 attendees at those events as well. And over 21,000 questions answered online by our leaders, all of this within the last year. So I just wanted to shout them out because without them, I wouldn't be here talking about how we even scale this program. So I'm going to jump in now that you have a brief overview of who they are, the most important people, just how we view measuring success, and like I said, outside of KPIs. So obviously, if you have an online community, your monthly active users are super important. And if you have an offline community, you're really worried about your attendees and the amount of events you're hosting. So those are things that we always track and are always super, super important. We look at those as like our health metrics. If those go down significantly, like we stop all the other stuff and focus on those. But we want to do other stuff outside of that. So here are a few examples of what we did this, or what we're doing this fiscal year. So in this first bucket, you'll see grow. We want to grow the program while maintaining a very high bar. So an example of that might be recruiting and successfully onboarding X amount of new leaders in H1, or in the first half of the year. In the second bucket, we do have build. So Atlassian recently announced their commitment and shift to cloud, which was a really big announcement, and for a lot of people, really scary, especially our server customers. So we, this year, really wanted to focus on not only the shift to cloud, but equipping our leaders with the necessary resources to be out in the wild and speak to any questions that they have from community members, whether that be at virtual events or online. So an example of that might be X leaders attending a cloud training workshop. And those training workshops are exclusive to our community leaders and hosted by Atlassian team members, different Atlassian team members. And then in this last bucket, we have Thrive. So we really want to create heroes out of our leaders to propel them forward. So examples of that might be seeking out opportunities to promote their efforts, whether that be internally on blogs, externally on social platforms, or in these webinars right now. And I just told you all about who they are and how they contribute to our success. And now all of that is cool, but like, what steps do we actually take to get there? So I'm going to go over a few of those. And I'm going to start with recruitment. So these are 3 different examples of how we approach recruitment. The first being university emails. So Atlassian University is where anyone can go to get certified in Atlassian products. So once someone becomes certified, they do get an email. Since they are uniquely positioned to join our products, if they are certified, they can speak to our products more than the average person. So we want to get their eyeballs on this program. So that's one way. Another way is through paid social. We have our teammate Bianca who focuses on this, and we've seen great success with the LinkedIn and Quora. We've gotten a lot of great candidates from there. And then this last example, our community digest, it is delivered to around 6,000 people monthly, our 6,000 members specifically. So it's just a great way to reinforce our member journey and like how to become a leader. Here is an example of an email somebody would get if they got 5 accepted answers on our online community. So it's one thing to answer somebody's question, but it's another thing to get an accepted answer. So that's great. We love to see it. So once somebody has hit 5, you'll see at the bottom of this email a call to action to learn more about the community leader program. So little things like that. And then also a new initiative that Erica Moss, my teammate, launched last year was our How to Become an Atlassian Community Leader webinar. We saw great success with attendance and then also with the amount of applications that we got. And the reason we decided to do this because a lot of people were applying and some were getting denied and not understanding why. Some people didn't even know we had a community leader program. We wanted to take all of the mystery out of it and not it be so exclusive that people don't know how to join. So since we saw great success with this, we're recreating this in EMEA and APAC this quarter. So just a few little examples of how to get the little touch points that you can put out there. So now I want to talk about how we approach keeping them after recruiting them. And I know it's not all about the perks. Like many of your leaders and like our leaders, they probably tell you that they don't do it for the perks and rewards. They do it because they like helping other people. But we like rewarding them for helping others. So let's get into that. Here is a list of all of the perks that any active leader would get. So if you join our program, these are all the things that you automatically get. They'll get a dedicated community manager. Right now we're split up by region, which is really nice. Also, they'll get access to Leader Slack and exclusive resources like workshops and trainings. So a workshop might look like improving workplace communication, because a lot of our leaders said they wanted to learn more about that, or debunking myths of cloud migrations. Those are exclusive workshops put on by the Atlassian team for our leaders. We also have demo instances of cloud products so they can test different things. As members are asking, whether that be at an event or on the online community, they can go in and play with our products and test things. We also do give them exclusive swag, which I'll go over in a bit. Also free vouchers for certification exams, exam preps, and badges, which keeps their certifications like active. We want to pour value into them at their companies just as much as they're giving value to us. And then we also give them an upgraded version of Trello. Love Trello. You'll see in a bit. We love Trello. And then when we are in person, historically this has been called Summit. We rebranded it to Team. So at our corporate event, now named Team, I'm still getting used to it, we do have a community day there and a VIP dinner. At these events, our leaders are offered a free ticket and a companion pass. So they could bring a coworker. Some people like to bring their partners, whatever, it's their choice. They like that. And then we also recently launched a new perks and reward system. So they all get this when they join, but then we wanted to recognize them really how they continue to contribute and their different activities. So we're rewarding them for their years active now and for different activity milestones. So like if somebody posts 5 events, 10 events, 15 events, or on the other side, if they have 1,000 points, 2,000 points, 3,000 points on our online community, we want to recognize them like every step of the way. So for the sake of time, I'm only going to go over the years active perks. But here is just a list of all the different things that they will get each year. So the first year, they'll get a welcome kit. The second year, insulated thermos, so on, so on. And all of this swag will be community branded. So I'll show you examples of what that looks like instead of just talking about it. So here are examples of what the pins would look like. Every year, they'll get a pin with a poem. The community team loves a poem. So they'll get a pin every year. Second year, here's an example of the hat with our community brand with the 2 on it. 3 years, they'll get a duffel bag, again, community branded. 6 years, my favorite, they get custom community vans. I want these. I secretly really want these. And then also custom luggage. So just a few different examples of the swag that we've created for them in this new perks and reward system. And I do want to call out that like none of this stuff, we were just like, this will be great. This is cool. We did a lot of research and focus groups with our community leaders over the last year and a half of like what they want to see. We have some leaders that have been with us like over 5 years, going on 8 years. And so t-shirts are cool, but after 8 years, that's just a lot of t-shirts. So we want to make sure stuff isn't going in a landfill. People are going to use these things and it's what they want to see. So here's an example of our newly launched perks and reward system. This was actually launched or announced to leaders at the beginning of this year. So very new, excited about it. But outside of like the activity milestones and yearly milestones, there's other ways that we can keep leaders happy. So on the left, you'll see a bottle of champagne. One of our community leaders graduated from her master's program, so we wanted to celebrate her. In the middle, you'll see our wellness package. So last summer, in the thick of COVID, when everyone, it was, we didn't know how long we were going to be at home, all the things. We were like, let's drum up some excitement and do a wellness challenge. And we wanted to keep mental health like first and top of mind. So in the middle, that's just our wellness package that we sent out to anyone who signed up to be a part of that. And then on the right, it's an example of our community leader awards. So I did mention we do, well, when we were able to be in person, we had a community day. So at community day, we do give out awards like the most active city, the person who's most active on the online community, things like that. So it's an example of awards we give. And then also there's another one there for our Atlassian Community Advisory Board. We do have an advisory board made up of different events leaders and online leaders that give us feedback all throughout the year. And those leaders do change. So he got an award for being a part of that. Okay, so the perks and everything is the fun part, but another equally important part would be, this is a question I ask myself often, is like, where can we reduce friction and increase clarity? So I'm going to switch gears a little bit more into the onboarding portion and then documentation and automation. So here you're looking at our onboarding checklist, or what used to be our onboarding checklist. When I started, this is the list that any community leader, once they onboarded, this is what they would follow. And over time, as you all know, new tasks come, new platforms come up. And so this list just kept getting longer and longer and longer. And we got feedback that it was overwhelming just to look at it. And obviously we don't want that to be the first experience our community leader has once they've decided to join the program. So I partnered with my teammate, Erica Moss, and we had two goals for this page specifically, and it was to streamline it and make it a combined onboarding experience for online and events leaders, since historically they were two separate programs with two different onboarding processes. Yikes, it's crazy to think about that. So here's what we came up with. We moved from Confluence to Trello and created a more interactive experience for leaders. So they're able to copy this board, customize it. It's way more visual. Also, it's extremely organized. So the information is easily discoverable based on where they're at in their leader journey. So they know what they need to do by week 1, by day 30, and so on. And then this board is also just all encompassing. It shows all the ways that leaders can get involved. So you see on each card, they all have labels, whether that be events, online, or both. And we were intentional about up-leveling that so that leaders could see just how much they did have in common. Again, I guess for context, these were two separate programs and we combined them together. So the more that we could show that they had in common, the better. And so once they are onboarded and go through all of those Trello boards, or go through that Trello board and all the different cards, they will land on our community leader hub. So this is also brand new. We wanted to make information easily discoverable and package up content ready to go. So I will go through that. But here, this is our leader hub. Any information that they need to know is pertinent information they can find here. Also, we've got a drop down again, just if they don't want to scroll down this page, because it is another long page. Just the things that we deem the most important, or the things that we get asked about the most. We up-level that. And then also on our leader hub, we have our presentation library. So leaders can come here, search through our different keynotes that our lovely Bridget uploads. She works with our PMMs to repurpose this content, package it, and give it to leaders. So yeah, this hub is really just to make their lives easier, take the guessing out of it. And yeah, this welcome kit is also a part of an onboarding resource. While it's not something you can download or it's a site, it is just something that legitimizes them into the program. And it's so cute that it encourages them to share. So we love when people share our stuff online, so we can retweet, all of the above. But here they get a journal, socks, pen, another little pin, and a note from us, just letting them know how excited we are that they decided to take this journey with us. And so documenting is an important part of onboarding and the whole entire process, really. So I want to get into documentation and how we do that. We'll talk about rules of engagement, so how Atlassian interacts with leaders and vice versa. How we keep information up to date to avoid any information gaps because the program is constantly evolving. And how we get feature requests from our leaders, whether that be for our online platform or our events platform. So let's start with feedback and our feature request board. So what we're looking at right now is where leaders can come in and give us feedback about our events platform and our online platform, which my teammate Mo will own feedback on our online platform. And so here leaders can go, they'll know what's in progress, what's been shipped, what's not possible, or what we're not considering, since we do want to be very transparent about that. And then Mo and I will team up quarterly to give updates about where we're at. So people don't have to jump in here and see if they don't want to, they can, but we'll post that on our online community. And everything, this is an example of a post of our online community. Everything is posted in our community leader collection to keep information discoverable, concise, like they know what to expect and where to find communications from our team. So here I'm just calling out that we're launching workshops. This one was saying, hey, we created a board where Atlassians have raised their hands to present at your virtual events, and your leaders have too. So just making it easier for them to find speakers for their events. And then other maybe smaller things like removing social sign-on options from our events platform. We want to be very transparent about everything that's going on and posting it in the same place so that it's easily discoverable. So here you'll see arrows that everything it's pointing to articles. So everything that we post is an article on our online community in the community leader collection, which is private. So leaders always know that they can come here to find information from our team. But since we know that I'm not the only person writing anything on our online community. We've got 9-10 different team members now. So Erica actually writes our leader report. Now we send that out bi-weekly. So she takes all the different pages in our community leader collection from our team, whether that be me, Mo, Bridget, and puts it all nice and easily digestible for our leaders and for our team. We all say that we love the leader report. We like cozy up with a cup of coffee. It's like, what are our different community leaders doing? What is the community team doing this week? It just is a nice way to package all of that information up in a bow. And this is posted in our leader collection, but it also gets sent directly to their preferred email that they've told us. So I love the leader report. Can't say that enough. So then this is another question I ask myself quite often is what can we streamline and simplify? So the leader report was an example of that, but then now I want to go into automation and how that makes our lives a little bit easier over the past year, what we've done. So right now we are looking at our community leader landing page. So if you go to community.atlassian.com/leaders, this is the page that you'll see. And so people can come here, learn more about our program. And if they are interested in joining, then they can click that handy dandy apply now button, and it will take them to our Salesforce application. So we're asking them all the questions: name, email, the products they use, company size, why they want to be a leader, what they plan to, we ask a lot of questions. And over the years, this application has certainly grown, because we found that the more information we can capture up front only helps us on the back end. So it just is like, if people are really serious about joining your program, they're going to fill out the application. So I'll go into what that application looks like. So Cassie has submitted her application. She looks like a great applicant. But here I want to go over just a little bit of automation that we have, and then the bigger one, I guess, if I had to compare. So products used, you can see two fields on here that are circled in purple. On the left, products used, that field is going to inform the product type field. So because I've selected on my products used everything to be cloud, my product type, I'm going to be a cloud leader. So let's just say, for example, stay with me, under products used, if I change Jira Software Cloud to Jira Software Server, my product type would then read cloud and server leader. And this is helpful information internally. As I mentioned, making the shift to cloud, when other teams reach out to us like, hey, do you have any leaders that can speak to this or can speak to people about blah, 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 XYZ? This helps us easily find that information. But another way that this helps, and it has really been a game changer for us, if you see product type field on the right, under that, 2 fields under that, you'll see status. And right now I'm at a new application. Obviously I'm new. So Erica has to go through the application, see if I'm a good fit, reach out to me for an onboarding call. We talk. She thinks I'm good enough for the program. She'll give me access to all the leader resources and platforms, and then go ahead and onboard me. So she will, here we go. She will click CM has completed onboarding task and fill in that onboarded date. And once that's done, as you see, the status is now automatically changed to onboarded. And this is important because once any of our leaders are in the onboarded status, it kicks off automation, and we will know when Cassie hosts her first event or when she's active on the online community, or adversely, if she's never active in either. And we know that because we have these IDs plugged in, and these IDs are specific to Cassie on our events platform and our online platform. So our systems are set up to talk to each other, and we have queries that let us know when somebody is active, at risk, or inactive. And their statuses automatically change, and we do have automated emails sent out for those status changes. This is a huge deal for us because we historically, with 400 leaders, we're doing all of our status changes manually. I can't even wrap my mind around it now. But yeah, this didn't even exist a year ago. So this is an extremely big win for our team, especially our community managers who are managing these people. But outside of amazing status changes, we do have automated emails, like I mentioned, but for their birthdays or other celebratory events, like maybe their anniversary in the program. Whew, that's a lot of information, y'all. But none of this work happens in a silo, and I do want to call that out. It's not like we're all just our community team, just like, yeah, we're going to make this happen. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Like, we collaborate with a lot of different internal teams. Here's a list of just a few of them. And I put this list up here to tell you that we are one of the biggest cross-functional teams at Atlassian, but it didn't start out that way. I can remember a time when half of these teams didn't know that community existed, that we had community leaders. Maybe some of y'all can relate to that, but over time, having a dedicated person to inform these different teams of the value that we bring and how we can help them, it has really grown over time. Now we have teams coming to us asking how they can contribute and making the community a part of their goals. So I encourage you all to just keep advocating for your community leaders, your community programs. It worked for us, so I hope it works for y'all. But really, no, honestly, it really is more of just continuing to inform people over and over again, even when you feel like you've said the same thing. It might be that one person or a new team member on that team that joins, that it sparks a fire in them and they want to contribute. So I encourage you all to continue doing that if you're not already, which I'm sure you are, because you're all smart humans. But just to wrap up, and the TLDR of my whole talk is we want you to set goals that support program growth and invest in your ambassadors. Explore existing and potential channels to recruit good candidates, and commit to evolving your perks and rewards offerings and doing that with your community leaders. Also, reducing friction by simplifying onboarding, documenting everything, and packaging content so it takes all the guesswork out of it for your leaders. And then finding ways to automate simple tasks to create space for high-touch efforts, and then continue to advocate internally. So thank you all for listening to our talk and how we scaled our ambassador program. I guess now, Christy, do we Q&A?
Yes, awesome. That was really great, Cassie, and thank you very much for that. We had a few questions, so I'll run through those. I know you're giving your presentation, so you may not have seen the chat, but lots of love for the swag and for the different kind of data points that you're pulling from your team too. The first one is, you mentioned there were 400 leaders meeting the minimum requirements. What do you ask of them? Is it the minimum number of meetings, questions answered, that good stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. We recently revamped that. So for our online leaders, we're asking that, and we had our data analysts pull all of this information. So initially we were like, hey, like 100 points and you're active. And we really, whenever our analysts went in there, it's like, actually, that should be closer to like 1,000 points. So right now, for our online community, it's 1,000 points. And for our events leaders, it's hosting an event at least once a quarter.
Awesome. Great. The next question is about your team structure. So the specific question was how many community managers is on your team, but would love to hear a little bit more about the entire makeup of the group.
Yeah, I would love to talk about everybody. So we have our head of community, and then under her, we have our community manager team lead, Darlene. And under her, she manages 3 different community managers. And those are the ones that I was saying in different geos. So we have one community manager in Americas, one in EMEA, and one in APAC. And we do have a community manager associate community manager who focuses not really on like leaders, but more so the tickets that are coming in and the manual processes. So that's like for the community managers. And then you have community ops like myself for the leader in events program. And we have community ops for our online program. That's Mo. And then Bridget focuses on our content with our product marketing managers. And Mandy focuses on our product teams. So she's our product marketing manager. I'm like, wait, I know she works with our product teams. And then we have Bianca, who does like the paid social, the different, more traditional marketing. I feel like I'm going to forget somebody. Let me see. And then I think that's it. I did good.
Yeah, and that makes sense when you talked about like cross-functional, coordination. That makes sense that you kind of have different people for those different groups.
Yes, and that really, really helped. Like I know for a long time we wanted to get product into community, and that was a little bit more challenging. But once we brought on Mandy, who is specific to working with those teams and giving reports and running all the different things, we have seen a huge amount of input from our PMs. Nice. On our event side and our online side. So yeah, it definitely helps having somebody specific to that.
Sure. Okay, this one goes back to those points. So how do you track points? Is it in one platform, across multiple places and activities? What does that look like?
So the way that it works is, I'm going to get this right. All of our data lives in Socrates, like all of Atlassian data. So I guess like for Koros, it lives in Socrates, and so does our Bevy data. And we have like webhooks set up for that. And Socrates, then there's queries that talk to Salesforce that tell them like, hey, if you haven't hosted an event in 90 days and have earned less than this points equals at risk and active. So it's our different systems and queries set up to talk to each other to do that. I don't know if I'm answering that in the best way. So if there's like a follow-up question, if I didn't get to it, I'm happy to either meet offline and talk about it. But
well, and you're pulling in Bevy data about the different events, all of that good stuff too. So
everything. Yeah, I know, we know when somebody hosts their first event, like I said, when they are becoming at risk and when they're inactive. And for us, I mean, that could be different for everybody, but it's just our requirements we set specific to that.
Nice. Awesome. So Aaron has a question. You mentioned the past challenge of growing community recognition internally to gain support for your initiatives like these. How did you get to that point? Was it promotion, strategic relationships, etc.?
I know that it was definitely having people's goals all around getting other internal people. Like, for example, Bridget works with our product marketing managers. So having her specific to that, it's like, okay, well, Bridget, she's not going anywhere. She's going to keep putting stuff on your calendar to figure out how we can leverage community, how you can become into community. So it was just like that. Hey, I'm still here. Hi, I'm still here. And then once we got, it started with the Confluence team. I think they were going through a huge change with their editor. We're getting a lot of feedback, good and bad. And so we were like, hey, let's put it into the community. And that was like a really good case study for like Jira and our Trello teams to say like, hey, people, like, they're getting really good feedback here. People are, you know, all the things. So I think once we had a really good case study, so to speak, we just started marketing that internally.
Awesome. And then the last question comes from Tessa. So you showed us different uses of Trello, and I know you made a slight plug that you love Trello, which I've seen firsthand.
I'm like, I have a little Trello dog right here.
Love it. So I guess just more examples of how you guys are using Trello. You talked about like new leader onboarding, maybe internally with your team. Go ahead and let us know.
So I actually can, if I'm allowed to share, I can share. Can I share?
Yeah, you should
A
have
few different examples. So here, I'll share my screen.
Perfect.
Second screen here. Okay. Can you see my Trello board up here?
Not yet. There. Okay, it's coming up. It's a little small if you can make it a little bit bigger.
Okay. Yeah, let me do that.
Perfect. Yep, we can see it. Wow.
Okay. Cool. So this is actually like an internal show and tell board, which is another way to get the internally, like just talking about community. But let's go to community leader workshops. This is we moved from a Confluence page because it got so big, and this is our new, like, hey, Christy, there you are. This was our new thing for this year. So we don't have a whole bunch of signups yet because this is for this year. But really, when we do community workshops, I have like, here, if you have an idea of something, a workshop topic and proposed date, put it here. And then once you're confirmed what to expect, blah, blah, blah. That's like an internal process for our workshops. Now, if we want to talk about community leader virtual presentations, like this is what our leaders see. So I always love how to use this board because everyone uses it very differently. But also the Atlassian presenters, we have a list of that. Product manager specific presenters and leader presenters. It's just like an easy way for them, especially our events leaders, to come in and say, hey, our members wanted to talk about Forge. Let's hit up this guy, you know? So just an easy way for that. And then let's see here. There's a community advisory board. Here we go. This is our community advisory board that we meet every month with our CAB. And so here we'll just talk about on hold, future items, this week's agenda, follow up, so on and so on. Just a few different examples of how we use it. Literally, it can be used so many different ways. And that's the one thing I love about Trello. I use it personally for like my own home stuff. So it's very flexible.
Love it. Awesome. And thank you for sharing that. Cool. Well, I don't see any other questions in the Q&A, but again, can't thank you enough. Super insightful. I guess if you wouldn't mind just sticking around for a little bit longer, just in case there's some questions in the chat that may be more directed to you. But again, thank you, Cassie, and great to see you too.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Perfect. Great. So just a few more things to get through. So the kind of a great segue into our next topic or next reminder is the way to share feedback with our team. This is specific to product feedback, but we use Trello as well. So we have a product feedback Trello board that is a direct connection to our product team. So over the years, we've had some great ideas from community managers and community teams. So the Trello board is really a great place for that. Also too, we've got our help email, so help@bevy.com if you have any suggestions, or I know a lot of you guys are meeting with your CSMs weekly, monthly, whatever that may be, but that's always a great space to share feedback too directly with our team. Oh. Sorry, I didn't realize these graphics, but yes, so that's a direct connection with our team. And yeah, so with that is all that I had for today. We can stick around if there's any specific questions. Rachel just included a link directly to that Trello board. But thank you guys all. I hope you have a good rest of your Thursday and a good weekend because we have one more day till the weekend. So thanks, everybody.